G'day gang, how we going? It's Brad Shepherd here from Create PT Wealth and here with another one of our six-figure success stories from the Create PT Wealth program. And I'm joined with my colleague here, Carlson Hizon. How you going, bud?
Yeah, real good, Brad. How are you?
Yeah, mate. Awesome. Mate, it's an absolute pleasure to chat with you. I'm going to let Carlson speak about his introduction to the industry. So, Carlson, I want to rip straight into it for everybody that's watching this. So, mate, tell us a bit about yourself. Where are you located? You've got a studio. It's called Carlson Hizon Fitness. So, maybe tell us a bit about that and the background behind it.
Perfect. So I'm located in Woolongong, so just south of Sydney, about an hour and a half's drive.
Yeah.
I've had the facility for just over a year now, so I had my first anniversary last week, actually.
Awesome, mate. Happy birthday.
Thank you. I have a big party this weekend.
Yeah.
So, and I've been PTing for close to 6 or 7 years. So it's been fantastic, the journey that I've been able to go through, and especially since starting with you guys again a year ago. So I had my 1 year anniversary last week as well.
Yeah, awesome. When you said you've been a PT for 6 or so years, but you weren't a full-time PT because you're still working in a full-time job. So you explain to us a bit about what you were doing since when you graduated to that time.
Okay, perfect. Like I think most people, I had PT on the side. I finished a Bachelor of Medical Science at uni. Worked a full-time job in hospitality, so I was a waiter. And I found that I got a lot of opportunities in hospitality, so I guess I started PTing just to have a bit of extra revenue on the side, use a bit of my medical degree and that sort of stuff. So just like a lot of, I guess, PTs out there, it was very much a couple of hours on the weekends, early mornings, late nights, but all while juggling full-time work in hotels. So I was up till this year for 11 years. So I was a manager with the Accor group there. So on the bar, conferencing, I did it all.
And mate, my knowledge of hospitality is that it's often not just a 9-to-5 job. So can you explain to us a bit about what might have been some of your typical work commitment?
Definitely not. So my restaurant opened breakfast, lunch and dinner 7 days a week, every single day of the year. So I had really early morning starts. I guess I worked pretty much every weekend from day dot. Really long hours. I guess, I would have to open the restaurant in the morning. I would probably duck away in the middle of the day and come back, open the bar and work the bar till late at night. So hospitality, it's rewarding, it's fun, but at the same time, 11 years is a long time to be in hospitality. So
And could you put a rough figure on what you might have been doing, like some weeks in terms of hours?
I think some of the biggest weeks were 60, 70 hours.
Wow.
It's on site, so not including, the time at home or on the computer. So hours.
So you're no stranger to putting in the effort.
No, definitely not. I think I really learned what hard work really meant then.
And so then whilst you were doing that, you'd started PTing and you were PTing, like, I guess what you might say, part-time. So you'd do a huge week and then you'd still fit in some sessions and like group stuff, would you? Is that how it works?
I'd probably get up early, do some early morning sessions out at the park and stuff like that. I was lucky enough, I did some corporate programs through the hotel industry. Up through that. Some school programs. And I was ducking out of my lunch break, doing some PTs, coming back at noon, working in the hotel, and then again, just a big cycle of a lot of hours.
Just the type of guy that just made it happen by the sounds of it.
Yeah, you had to make it happen. I guess I was in a beautiful position that being there for so long and being a manager, I could dictate my hours and when I worked around the business in the hotel.
Yeah, sure.
I was still running classes and PTs, so if I look back now, I don't know how I quite got around to doing it all, but definitely a massive learning experience.
And during those years then, say that 5 or so years while you were doing both, did you always have the vision to open the facility or move out of full-time work? So how was that all shaping up, and was PT turning out like you'd imagined, or what was your thoughts on the whole thing?
I guess early on it was more just a side gig. A passion there, a joy for it. But as I kept doing more corporate programs and more people started to want to train with me, I kind of saw a big potential that, hey, I could could do something in this space. I could create, you know, a bigger thing out of it. So yeah, the vision was to always have my own studio. I think early on I learned I didn't really want to be working for someone. I wanted to work for myself and be that whole entrepreneur and do things my way in a sense.
Yeah.
I really like being in charge of being in control of what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the last couple of years that I really started to think, I think I can make this a reality.
Yeah. Awesome. That's cool. And when was it then that you'd made the decision that you wanted to do a location or get a facility as opposed to doing it inside a gym or outdoors or something like that?
Because I did my internships and placements at your 24-hour gym, a couple of local big group fitness places.
Yeah.
But it was probably, I guess it wasn't really planned. You know, it's that thing where you have a dream and have a space. But it just so happened that something came up on Facebook where a person was selling their gym.
Yep.
And I got a little bit of a push. And they go, what's the worst thing that could happen? Just ask the question. You know what I mean? So I had a lot of thoughts about, I might not be ready enough. I might not have the money or the knowledge to do that sort of venture and jump straight into it.
Yeah.
I did. I made the phone call. I went through the processes, went into the space, and it happened. So really, it was about a year ago. I kind of just jumped into it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's cool. And when we met you, we were just chatting before we hit the record button. And interesting story because we met at Filex 2017. So we met just over a year ago, probably around about 15, 16 months ago. And when I met you at Filex, we were exhibiting there. So our goal is to meet lots of PTs and invite people in and encourage them to come along to our workshop. And there was you and your two mates there. And I was having a chat with you guys, and I thought that I had some interest there, and then I felt like you guys were a bit like, not sure about this guy, and whether we're keen on this, and mate, can you tell us a bit about that? Because I reckon there was a bit where you were maybe a little bit hesitant or a bit unsure about us or what we were offering.
Yeah. I mean, that brings me back. So it was just over a year ago, and again, walking around the exhibition centre, there's a lot of people shoving flies in your face and trying to get in front of you to have a chat. And obviously, it's hard to walk past you and Jace, the size you guys are. So stop us in our tracks. And I was pretty hesitant, I must say. You know, in our industry, it's very easy to be caught up in that whole car salesman sort of label and sell something and trying to make a buck. But giving you guys the opportunity and letting you guys talk about your story and clicked. And obviously, we went to their workshop from there, and I haven't looked back since. So I'm happy you stopped me.
I remember we had a pivotal moment at the expo where I think I turned into the three of you, and I'm like, I think I'm trying to do my best. I was like, all right, boys, are we going to do this or what? You know, because I'm thinking I'm seconds away from losing these guys. You know,
we were definitely a hard sell, and I must admit. I was probably the hardest sell out of all three of us. We just need to have a look. And again, that just shows, looking back, I was in a much different position to where I am now. So when I look at this year's Fitness Expo, I remember I had headhunted you guys down to make sure I found where you guys were. A completely different story this time around. We were able to chat and talk about the growth that I've had in the past 12 months. When you look at the two different expos from years different.
Oh, amazing! Hey, well, let's just talk about that. So, when you first kicked off, roughly what were you doing in the business with those, those few sessions? It was a few $100, was it?
Yeah, I was probably in the $200 to $300 mark, running about four classes a week. Probably just a handful of 2 to 3 PT.
Yeah.
In terms of volume, I wasn't getting much per week, and especially in revenue. That was what I was looking at.
And then, say $300 a week. Now, fast forward the clock till today. We just ticked over the new financial year. Roughly, how much are we talking per week?
I average over $3,000 a week.
Awesome.
To finish off the financial year, I was in those 6 figures. So
that's great.
Completely turned around. Completely phenomenal. From 300, well over 3,000.
Yeah, 10x the business. That's awesome. And meanwhile, you've formally resigned from full-time work. Is that right?
Yep. So I no longer am in the hospitality world. I like to say
Yeah.
retired.
Yeah. Because I think that you, correct me if I'm wrong, you sort of took a bit of a leap of faith in terms of you had some long service leave or something where you could go, all right, I've got a few months, I can give this thing a go, and I can always go back if for some reason.
Yeah, I kept it there as, I guess, a safety blanket.
Yeah.
Knowing that I had that other means of revenue and work, always a safety blanket. But yeah, once I signed the contract for this studio, I took my 3 months long service leave.
Yeah.
And I went guns blazing. I obviously signed up with you guys.
Yeah.
I made sure I surrounded myself with good mentors, good people.
Yeah.
As much information as I could. And that's where you guys fall heavily into that and be able to build myself as a businessman more than a PT.
Yeah.
But yeah, completely resigned, so, and not looking back.
Yeah, why would you? That's awesome, mate. Well done. And so let's talk a bit about what you guys offer and like some of the, I guess, the things that have got you to where you've got. So do you guys offer one-on-ones? Is there any semi-private? Is there group? What sort of stuff that makes up that?
So we do a bit of everything. We definitely do a lot of one-on-ones and small group. That's our bread and butter.
Yeah.
So we're looking at about 30 sessions a week that we
Yeah.
do. We also do group classes.
Yeah.
Sitting at about 12 classes a week as well.
12 a week, yeah.
12 a week, and then we also run boot camps as well. So I'm in my second boot camp for the year, which is our winter boot camp.
Yeah.
We've seen about 30 clients come through and do the 10-week program. So
yeah, gotcha.
That we do. We also keep in touch with school and corporate programs.
Yeah.
There's a wealth of different, I guess, revenue and stuff that we like to explore and do. So.
Yeah. And I know you've had some help. Do you have any full-time trainers at the moment, or is it more part-time help? How does that bit work?
So I've got people that contract with me. I have one contractor that pays rent. So the base contractor there. I also have another that does a massage therapy. And then I have 2 other contractors that work whenever I have boot camp programs as well. So I've got a team there of contractors, but I'm looking to expand and grow that employees and more people under my. So building that sort of space as well.
Yeah, so moving forward for the future for you, the growth is about now, you built the model, it's running successfully, it's profitable, it's now about going, okay, how do I now bring in, the right team members and have them doing more sessions and so forth?
Yeah, and I guess I can have more offering. We have the ability to take on more clientele. Yeah, that's the big step. I mean, up to this point, it's pretty much been myself solo for the last 12 months in the studio.
Yeah.
So building a team around me is what I'm working on with Ben, who's my coach.
Yeah.
Guys. Yeah, that's the next step to see if we can really nail that down, the right sort of people in to continue the culture. It's all about trying to find that right fit.
Yeah, awesome. That's great. And within that, I was just going to, you mentioned about getting coached by Ben Delhunty, one of our Create PT World Master coaches, and not only is he a top bloke, but I think he's what the appeal for you, and I guess the good connection is he's been there, done it. He has his studio running successfully in Sydney. So it sounds like you've had been able to really leverage off that.
Yeah. I mean, his background in studios, his story was uncannily very close to my story.
Yeah.
I think he's been running for 10 plus years, and he's from being a sole trader, having his own team. It's been phenomenal. Having that support is probably the thing that I value the most. Having someone there that knows my story, knows what I'm going through week in, week out, and has done it. So everything that he passes on is from his own personal experience. So phenomenal. I think it was a perfect match. I'm not biased in any way, but it's been great. And it's truly helped me grow my studio, my brand, and realize that, there's a lot more things to business than just the numbers and stuff like that. It's all about culture and the right fit and doing things for your clients. So and that's kind of the model that I'm looking at, is massive retention from clientele. And clients that have been with me from day one. So seeing their progress and vice versa, them seeing my progress into coming into my own space and building the brand has been really rewarding.
Yeah, good on you. How big's the facility in terms of square meters?
I think we sit at about 130, 140 square feet.
Square feet or square meters?
Square meters.
Square meters, yeah. Yeah. So in terms of like, I mean, I'm just trying to, picture it. It's you've got more of a functional type setup. Would that how we'd describe it? Yeah.
So we like to do a lot of strength and conditioning training. So obviously I've got all the racks, barbells, kettlebells. But in saying that, our bread and butter, we started off with boxing. So again, I've created a studio that allows me to do suspension training, boxing. We do stretch and recovery classes in here as well.
Yeah.
A little bit of CrossFit and Olympic lifting stuff. You enjoy as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I had a space that could cater for a lot of different types of clientele, and that's the type of studies and background that I have as well. So I've got a lot of different CSCs in different areas.
Yeah.
I guess when you look at the niche, my niche is people that want to experience different things, and having my knowledge to allow to train different sort of clientele is kind of the niche that I wanted to go down.
Yeah, fantastic. That's awesome. And whilst you've been on the program, you obviously, things are moving great for you in the right direction. You just moved into what we call our second year on the program, because you've done your first 13 months with us and now moved on from there. So you obviously see value in it. What have you noticed any other types of, personal change or, growth or any of that sort of stuff going through this process?
Yeah. Well, I think you'd be a big advocate for it. I think having your own business and having the buck stop with you is probably the biggest sort of growth that you can go through.
Yeah.
You can see that I think a lot of it was self-doubt before coming onto the program, and a lot of the negative thoughts or a lot of self-sabotage was from internally, and what I thought, am I able to, have my own space? Can I afford money? Can I get enough clientele in?
Yeah.
Where now I think I'm much more confident in what I can do. In the type of effect I can have on clients and people. And then I also learned to value my time a bit more. I think very early on in the PT sort of game, you're always second guessing yourself or underselling yourself and giving a lot of things for free and giving a lot of your time up. I've learned that time is valuable, and the time with my clients as well as mine is valuable. So I've learned that, massively self-growth and being more confident in your abilities and trusting in the processes will get you very far in
That's fantastic. Yeah, so good. And mate, I know you're a hard worker, and by that I know you're incredibly disciplined and so forth. But I'd just be curious to know, compared to the old days of the 60, 70-hour weeks in hospitality, do you feel like you're working as hard, less? Like, what's the comparison?
The working less, I guess you can say. So I think I average about 30 hours in the studio a week.
Yep.
Give or take a few.
Yep.
I mean, the beauty is I haven't worked a proper weekend in 12 months. You know what I mean? 11 years of working every weekend in hospitality. My number one goal was to not work weekends and give time to myself to spend with friends, family, loved ones. Definitely working less in terms of hours. But working more productively and more effectively. Again, my time is valuable, so the time that I spend in the studio and in the office has to be effective, and that's having the right processes and the right support around you, I think.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And mate, lots of PTs out there at the moment. In your opinion, why do you think it is that PTs may struggle, or why do you think are some of the reasons why that they might not be going as good as they could? Because someone sees your progress and your growth, and some people might think, well, how's that possible? How does that just happen like that within a year? Opens the place. Before you know it, he's in a really great position. So what's your opinion on why people might not be going so great?
I guess it's the ability to step outside of the comfort zone. Very big for me. I was very set in my ways, being a PT for the 5 or 6 years before my studio and joining up with you guys. I was very set in my ways. Being open to experiences is something that I created by a trainer that's trying to build and grow. I think having the mentality of always being a student is the biggest thing. Regardless of whether you've been in the industry for 2 years or 20, you always got to be a student. And that's what I found with it. I'm always continuously learning, whether it's webinars or my weekly catch-ups with Ben or that we have. I'm always trying to pick the brain and trying to learn from your experience. That when I come across something like that, I can use that and try to get a better outcome. So I think it's that, and then just investing in yourself and knowing that if it is a true passion, you won't work it. You won't work it down. So for the last 12 months, I haven't worked it. I literally, you know what I mean. I enjoy getting up early. I enjoy seeing my clients, knowing that I'm making a difference. So if you see PT as a job, it will be. It'll be a job. It'll be a struggle. You'll burn the candle, do the hours, just taking away. But if you see personal training and the health and fitness industry and running a business as a lifestyle, I think you're in control of what you do and how much you can grow and the potential you have to grow. So that value and that passion and having a good support network around you, I think that's the biggest thing. So
fantastic, mate. Great advice. So I agree 100% with everything you said there. So so good. All right, mate, let's find out a little bit about you and so forth. So tell us a bit about what sort of music you're into, and you've obviously got some favourites and what pumps in the studio when you're by yourself.
Okay. A little bit of old school. I like some old school R&B, rap and sort of stuff.
R&B Fridays.
Yeah, I love that sort of stuff.
Bring it on, I say.
So, definitely pump that a bit out, especially with boxing classes.
And what about your clients? Do they like it?
Yeah, majority do. Most of the time, they're the ones picking the music anyway. So we've got that does the whole speaker system. So each night before we start the class, we vote on which playlist we want to play. So it's pumping. It's always loud in
That's excellent.
I like a little bit of stuff. As long as it gets me, it'll be good.
Yeah, and mate, coming from hospitality, you would have seen every type of meal, food, whatever. So what's your favourite type of food?
See, I'm a bit biased because my dad was the head chef the time that I was in hospitality. So anything he can cook up is pretty good. I think that's the problem. That's probably why I got into personal training, is because I love food. So the more I train, the more I can eat. I guess that's down to it. So,
it's a good balance, eh? What do you do to switch off, mate? So you're obviously very meticulous with everything you do. What do you do to relax or unwind?
I love just sitting back watching movies. I think that's a big thing for me.
Yeah.
But I like getting out. I do a bit of rock climbing. I play heaps of basketball, so I play 2 comps a week.
Yeah.
And being able to really always allow me more of that time off. So things that I like to get out. I'm a little bit competitive. So anything, trying to get the W is always good. I just play sports, heaps of sort of stuff. And then I guess the driving range has been a good thing lately, just with the boys, and this is always good. So never did I think of doing that. I was always going golf was boring, but now, you know what I mean? So hit out.
Awesome. That's great, mate. Any sort of parting words that you would say to someone who's thinking about a facility or a studio? You've now experienced and been there and done it. What's your advice?
You can't bring it to the T. I think I'm very, very just like I like control of everything. In life, and you just got to go. When an opportunity presents itself, I think you say this a lot. You got to grab it. You got to do it. So I did not plan in my wildest dreams to have the studio when I got it. I told myself I was still a few years out. But when that opportunity came and I got that push, I just took the chance. And the worst that could happen is I'd still be in the same position. I didn't get the studio. So I think decide and realize that opportunities are put in front of you for a reason. You got to take it, and you just got to back yourself and go. And for the best, they say fake it till you make it, and I think I'm doing it well. So
I agree, mate. And you're absolute pleasure to have on the program. Ben constantly raves about you, working with you. He loves working with you. So, and mate, every interaction we've had, I've absolutely loved it. So, trust those of you who have been watching this have got out of it, got the value, and I'm really proud to show the success stories that come through the program. So, mate, congratulations.
I appreciate it as always. And like I said, it's been a fantastic, 13, 14 months, and really looking forward for the next year ahead. And got some big goals to tick off. So I'm glad that I've got you guys in my corner to help me put still and keep on growing and building.
Awesome, brother. Excellent, mate. Carlson Hizon, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks again, mate.
Cheers. Thanks.
Bye-bye.